Next. This storyboard might be a bit hard to see. Jiro is now working in Mitsubishi. He's constantly looking at girls. In the first frame, it says Jiro is unapologetic. Jiro was late for work and was scolded by Kurokawa. But Jiro doesn't seem to mind him at all and remains very calm. In the second frame, it says Jiro's eyes wander to the left. In the third frame, it says the girls pass by. Fifth frame, Jiro is bowing to the girls and also exchanging glances with another girl. Then he even nods to a girl passing on his left side. Kurokawa is Miyazaki's favorite character, and you can see that he is a person of integrity. Whereas Jiro is barely listening to him and continues to glance at the girls. So clearly, Miyazaki is trying to distance him from the audience. He tells the audience, you see, he's not very impressive. Please be critical about him by showing his faults. In a later scene where Kurokawa is talking to Jiro, Jiro can't take his eyes off the airplane. Jiro is more interested in girls and planes than in his colleagues, but he's a genius and he shows his huge ability in his work. Jiro is an uncooperative character. I use the word psychopath for Jiro, and Miyazaki doesn't like Jiro's psychopathic side. You can see that here. He never forgives Jiro, saying he's just a genius. There's another genius character, Honjo, who is not like Jiro. Miyazaki calls Jiro and Honjo the two geniuses in his essay. He doesn't accept Jiro's faults just because he's a genius. In fact, he wants to show the imperfections of Jiro Horikoshi in this film. I'll talk about his reasons for this in the second half. I talked about this scene in the trailer. He offers sweets to a girl, but she refuses. Jiro is shocked for a second. Jiro says to the girl, "Here, have some sweets. They're pretty nice." The girl looks at them, suppresses her hunger, and looks back at Jiro. Both siblings glance at the sweets, but in the next frame, the brother looks up at his sister, and she looks squarely at Jiro. Jiro doesn't understand why the girl refuses the sweets. They might be poor, but they have their pride. They don't feel good when a guy offers them food with a condescending attitude. But Jiro is so spoiled, he doesn't understand that. After this incident, Honjo visits Jiro's apartment. He abruptly walks into Jiro's apartment. We later find out that he has come to tell Jiro that he too is going to Germany, although Jiro, his rival, was chosen before him. He wants to tell Jiro that he too is chosen and brag about it, but Jiro looks very upset when he's serving tea. When Honjo asks, "What's wrong?" Jiro tells him about the sweets incident. Then Honjo says, "Well, you're a hypocrite. What did you expect? Did you think she'd be grateful and give you a big smile?" Jiro immediately answers, "No, that's not what I was thinking." But then he drops his head and says in a small voice, or maybe it is, he was truly embarrassed with himself. Although he was quick to deny it, he admits that he might have expected the pretty girl to thank him, and he is embarrassed. Honjo adds, a single one of those components that you developed for the Hayabusa plane could feed all the kids in the neighborhood. He goes on to explain that they themselves are the cause of the starvation. They are the reason why the kids are starving in the streets. And then Jiro goes, why is our country so poor? They basically don't understand each other. Honjo is saying in essence, don't you understand that we are the perpetrators? Maybe it makes you feel good to offer sweets to the kids, but the sole reason why they're so poor in the first place is that we make airplanes and those airplanes eat money. That family cannot go back home because we are making planes out of government money. He says that's why the kids have to wait for their parents in the streets. He's stressing that we are the real perpetrators. He has to. He's the Jiminy Cricket. But Jiro is not aware that he is the perpetrator. Being poor is just a state, and he thinks that no one should be blamed for that. Honjo asks Jiro, have you any idea how much money the Japanese government is spending on the Junkers technology? It's enough to pay for a bowl of tempura rice plus some dessert for every girl in the country. You'd even get some change out of it. But Jiro barely responds to that. Honjo says, but I can't waste this opportunity. And then Jiro gets excited and says, are you going to Germany too? Jiro quickly reacts to Honjo's comment about missing a career opportunity. So Jiro might be a psychopath, but he's not a bad person at all. He's delighted at Honjo's good news, as if it's his own. But he basically has zero understanding of Honjo's dilemma. Before leaving, Honjo says, poor countries crave planes, and that's why we can make them. It doesn't make any sense. Jiro doesn't understand what Honjo has said. He tries to figure it out in his room, but Miyazaki doesn't show his troubled face. Miyazaki wants the audience to imagine what Jiro is thinking and what Jiro made of Honjo's comments. It makes us wonder where we stand ourselves. So Miyazaki is trying to be objective regarding Jiro, just like Isao Takahata. You'll see this type of objectivity pretty often in the first 30 minutes. It is completely different from his previous work. Now, I want to talk about something a bit complex. I'll talk about what happens to these two guys in Germany in the second half. I wanted to talk about this in the free part today. It's the scene near the end. Well, I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago when I talked about The Wind Rises.